So with me now, I have Valient Thorr of North Carolina. How you doing, guys?
Pretty good, Alois. How are you?
I'm good, good. So what's your names?
Valient himself.
Lead singer?
Valient Thorr.
Drummer. Now, I stated that you're just from North Carolina, but all the press that I can read says you're from Venus.
Inside of the planet Venus.
Inside of it?
Yeah,
Any
a small
particular
city
reason?
called Burlatia.
Right.
What do you mean?
Is there, do you know, Valient Thorr, you know, is there a reason why you picked that particular planet?
Why we picked it?
Yeah.
We were born there.
You were born there?
Yeah.
And you crash landed in North Carolina about 16 years ago?
No, Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay.
But in this time stream. But it was many different, you know, we landed in Greenville, North Carolina, and then wandered up to Alexandria to figure things out. But there's so many different time streams and so many different versions of it. In this one that we have not been able to leave again, we've been here since 2000, and we've chosen the profession as rock and rollers to get out our message of peace.
Because you picked a pretty good part of the world to land in as far as music's concerned, right?
I think so. Seems to, I mean, it worked on us. I mean, we were influenced by Earth men who played rock and roll and all kinds of other styles of music. But that beat,
Yeah, I feel it.
that beat of rock and roll, it'll go through things, you know. It weaves through the walls and it makes you feel it. And so it's a good catalyst to get conversations going, to break the ice when you're feeling like timid about stuff. And you know, if you have something to say, which is why we do what we do, then you know it's a poignant.
As a band, how long have you been together? The current lineup, how long? Are you the same 5 dudes that started 16 years ago? Or?
No, there was.
So how long has this nucleus been together?
2 years.
Going on 2 years.
Right on
Going
2
on
years.
2 years.
Because you've produced 6 albums to date. 7 albums to date. The latest one was, like you said, Old Soul, which was released in July.
July 29th.
But I've been researching you guys musically, and the earlier stuff, you've always, throughout all of your music, you've got a heavy riff. But I would say this particular album, the latest album, there are a lot of punk elements in there. Do you agree with that?
Sure.
So you've evolved from a heavy riff to a heavy riff English punk influence, which is pretty cool, right?
I mean,
that's pretty unique.
Well, I mean, if you go all the way
American
back,
punk.
It started out as a MC5 Thin Lizzy style band that went more metal and then more punk and then back and forth to, you know, almost like to even a more not Ramones style mimic or anything, but an influence of American rock and roll, and then into, you know, there's a little bit more soul, I think, in this album. A little bit more, there's definitely a bit more groove in this album, if you will. The groove. There's definitely a lot more groove in this record than there is in some of the other ones. But it still has that Valient Thorr sound. It still has, you know, 2 guitars and that beat.
How often do you come over to the UK? And what is it about your music that you think the UK fans like?
Once or twice a year since 2007, so 9 years, not more than 18 times, but not less than 10 times. So much.
So what is it about your music do you think the fans like that enables you to keep coming back? I'm assuming you like coming to the UK.
You know what? I think maybe the first fans that we gained were because we did successful tours with successive awesome bands. It was like the first time we came over was beginning of 2007 with Fu Manchu, and then came right back that same year with Motorhead, and then came right back again with Mastodon, and then came right back again and did festivals, and then, you know, and it was just like that. Every single time we would come over, the fan base would get bigger and bigger, and sometimes they would add to ours, and we already had, since the MySpace days, even places that we had never been before, sort of like the Turbo Jugend from Turbo Negro, different fan base in different cities who would come out. A lot of the times they started from Turbo Jugend clubs, would call themselves Thorriers and come out and have barbecues and just party with us. And so we, if it wasn't for them, I don't know how, them and the action sports scene that came from being on the Volcom record label, Volcom Entertainment. So you would have groups of surfers and skateboarders and snowboarders.
That's in the US.
That's all over.
All over, in
Yeah,
this
that's
country as
over
well.
here too. Volcom Europe was based out of Biarritz, France. So we had people in Stuttgart, Germany, and Biarritz, and Bayonne, and then everywhere. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to afford to come to Europe for the first time ever if it hadn't been for Volcom. So, that action sports is all over the world. It's not just, it was here in the UK as well. So, and those people still come out. They're our friends. They still support us.
So going back to the earlier question, you mentioned influences in America. Which bands would you say influenced you greatly and from America, and which bands influence you greater from the UK? Because I can hear all sorts of stuff.
Are you talking about the old stuff or now? Because I'll talk about old stuff. You talk about
musically.
I'll say.
What made you pick up the sticks? What made you start shouting?
What made me pick up sticks?
Yeah.
It was just in there, just seeing the drums.
So you didn't hear a piece of music by a particular band and think,
It was visually with me.
oh, okay.
It wasn't listening to music, it was actually seeing it done. And I took it from there, picked it up, and once I see how you do it, I can take it and go ahead and go with it.
Okay, so who do you admire today?
Who do I admire? My favorite drummer right now is Aaron Spears.
Okay.
Aaron Spears.
Fantastic. Yourself, what made you pick up the mic?
I think, well, as far as, I was a spoken word poet, and, but as far as like joining a band and making it happen, my influences, the strut would come from like watching old Mick Jagger, the poetry came from Jim Morrison, the front man came from Bon Scott, and the philosophy came from Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo. Now, as far as the band starting, the philosophy of the band was from MC5, no doubt. MC5 and the Detroit sound. And something about Detroit in itself, I mean, they had the rock and roll, they had Frost and Ted Nugent, Detroit Wheels, they had Mitch Ryder, and they had, Iggy Pop and the Stooges and MC5 on one side of the city, and on the other side you had the Motown sound, and you had all this soul. And so something about having a band that would be like James Brown fronting the MC5 was what we wanted. And it turned out when we added another guitar player, it turned into more of a Thin Lizzy thing. So, and then, of course you had a Motorhead thing. So you're talking on this side of the pond, we had Thin Lizzy, Motorhead, and maybe even, I wouldn't say the Stones. I don't think anybody in the band would say the Stones, but obviously each person brought their own influences. If you ask any person who's
influences,
if you ask anybody in the band, they would all say different influences, because each one of us brought our thing to the table. Always have, no matter who's been in the band at what part of what particular time. And this is derailing the whole conversation, but there was a lady who was like, there was a conversation, a thread going on about getting people in your band, and they're like, we need more LGBT people in bands, and we need more transgender people in bands, and we need more minorities in bands, and all this stuff. And someone tagged me in it, because now we have, it's not just a band of 5 white guys anymore. And they asked what I wanted to say about that, and I was like, well, it's not like it's, yeah. I was like, we didn't go say, hey man, we need to get a black guy in our band now.
Gotta meet our quota.
we gotta be PC.
Yeah, I was like, that's not how it works. I was like, if you want to do that, you can start a band with any of those type of people. But we didn't say, hey, let's get a black guy in our band.
Affirmative action.
Somebody said, hey man, my friend Iggy can play fucking drums. And we said, let him try out. And he fucking blew us away. And he was the man for the job. That's how it works. I mean, I was like, you can, if that's your goal, then put that together. But most people who already have bands can't just look at their guy and go, too many white guys in this band, you're fired. We gotta pull somebody in here with some color or something like that. So it's weird. It's fucking,
Wow,
that's a weird.
That still goes on though. I'm amazed that still goes on.
It does.
if you think about it, black guys started this whole music in the first place.
Yeah.
So, you know, credit to them. So I know Lion Eyes very well, I know Clutch very well, and I know that you guys are going to fit in as far as this gig tonight goes. I had a friend that lives in Brussels, and I told him to come down and see you guys because I was very interested in his opinions. Sven, big shout out to Sven. He said he caught the last 2 tracks of your set, and he says it was off the chain. He said it was energetic, vibrant, bouncing. He said it was riffing. He said it was, you know, fantastic vibe. And he said it worked really, really well. Now, how did you get to meet these guys, and how did you manage to get on the tour with these guys? Because I know you're only really a stone's throw from Washington, which is where those guys are from. But...
We don't know Lion Eyes. We didn't know them before.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Because they're signed to Clutch's record label, aren't they?
Sure.
Yeah.
We didn't know them, but we toured with Clutch in 2011 with Clutch and Motorhead all on this tour. I just happened to have it on the U.S. Canada tour. Every fucking day was sold out, the whole tour, and it was our 4th tour with Motorhead, and it was the first one. Actually, we had done a little bit of stuff with Clutch before, some one-off gigs and little things between. But it was a fantastic tour. We made good friends with them, and I'm not sure how this came together. Somebody just asked us if while we were over here supporting our new record during the summer, there was a slot, and they asked if we wanted to come back, and we were like, absolutely. Especially in you know, since the last time we toured together was 5 years ago, and Lim just passed last year. It was a good tribute to him. You know, like today is a celebration for us for our Valient Thorr. It's his birthday, but like the last show of this tour will be in like 2 days, and it'll probably be, we'll just have to send it out to Lemmy because you know, it'll be about 1 year since he passed, and you know, 5 years ago since we all toured with him, both bands.
Fantastic. So you knew the guy well then?
Oh yeah.
I know you signed to Napalm Records, who are the guys that got me in here anyway. What have you got coming up in the future?
I don't think we have like some plans all the way through the summer of next year, but I can't tell you what they are yet because it hasn't been announced yet. So a lot of touring, maybe trying to fit in some new jams. I know we're always got some new jams in our minds. Like that record came together, but it's like it's not even there yet what we can do with the potential that we have. So
you're still working off this one, really, aren't you?
Yeah, we're still working on this one. It's still new. We haven't even toured the States with it yet.
Maybe not.
So, but there's more in us already.
Yeah.
I already know that.
That's purely because you're a relatively new band. You've been together 2 years almost. You're starting to work with each other more, getting ideas on the road. That happens a lot. Creative people.
Got a new album out, and it's us 5. So
you're like, actually, I can improve on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, I did a little bit here and there. Exactly. Well, you got a lot of material there. Right, I'm going to leave you guys to eat and chill before the show. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you very much.